The news spread like wildfire, leaving everyone stunned and confused. Candace Owens, a well-known political commentator, had gone on record claiming that Charlie Kirk's wife was somehow involved in his shocking and sudden death. At first, many dismissed it as another dramatic statement made in the heat of the moment, but the weight of her words lingered and could not be easily ignored. People who had admired Charlie were left shaken, asking themselves how something so dark could possibly touch the life of a man they saw as strong and untouchable. Candace's accusation came during a live broadcast, her voice steady but filled with an undertone of urgency. She said she had evidence, messages, conversations, and movements that connected Charlie's wife to a dangerous scheme. Some thought she was exaggerating, but others couldn't deny the seriousness of her tone. Overnight, social media was flooded with speculation, people debating whether this was a conspiracy theory or a truth too terrifying to accept. Charlie's sudden death had already left his followers mourning. He had been young, powerful, and charismatic, someone who seemed to have everything in order. The official report had described his passing as suspicious, with no clear explanation given to the public. Now, with Candace's shocking claim, the puzzle pieces began to take on a far darker shape. Charlie's wife, who had once been admired for her quiet strength and loyalty, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight in the most devastating way. Neighbors reported that she looked pale and withdrawn when she stepped outside, avoiding eye contact with cameras and journalists who crowded her home. Some saw this as the behavior of a grieving widow, while others whispered that it was the look of someone hiding a guilty secret. Police officials tried to calm the chaos by reminding everyone that the investigation was ongoing, but the public had already made up its mind. Every detail of Charlie's marriage was pulled apart and analyzed. Old photographs, public appearances, and interviews were replayed as people searched for clues they had missed before. Was there tension between them? Had she seemed distant? Had Charlie looked unhappy in those final months? Candace, meanwhile, stood firm. She said she knew what she was talking about, and she refused to retract her statement. Her supporters praised her courage, while her critics accused her of exploiting a tragedy for attention. But Candace insisted this was not about politics, not about headlines. This was about truth, justice, and ensuring that Charlie's legacy was not buried beneath lies. Inside the Kirk household, the atmosphere was tense. Family members clashed with each other, some defending Charlie's wife, others demanding answers. His parents were heartbroken, torn between grief for their son and doubt about the woman he had chosen to share his life with. His friends avoided interviews, too shaken to speak, but whispers leaked out that not everything in the marriage had been as perfect as it had seemed. As investigators dug deeper, questions grew louder. Bank records, phone logs, and travel details were reviewed, and the more they looked, the more tangled the situation seemed. Every discovery fueled more rumors. The press painted pictures of betrayal and hidden motives, but still nothing concrete had been proven. Charlie's wife remained silent, neither confirming nor denying the allegations. For those who admired Charlie, the silence was unbearable. People wanted a clear answer. They wanted justice, or at least peace. But instead, they found themselves trapped in uncertainty, with Candace's words echoing in their minds. Was she truly revealing a dark truth, or had grief and politics twisted the story beyond recognition? Weeks turned into months, and the investigation dragged on. The authorities grew increasingly frustrated with the media storm that surrounded the case, making their job harder. The public, however, refused to let it fade away. Vigils were held, rallies were organized, and everywhere, one question remained: who was really responsible for Charlie Kirk's death? Candace continued to release bits of information, each one adding to the fire. Screenshots of conversations, hints of meetings, unexplained disappearances. While critics said the evidence was circumstantial, her followers believed it proved beyond doubt that Charlie's wife had secrets she wanted to keep hidden. The divide between belief and skepticism grew wider each day. The tragedy turned into something much larger, a clash of truth, power, and loyalty. Families broke apart over disagreements, friendships ended in bitter arguments, and the nation watched, captivated by a story that blended grief with suspicion. For many, it was no longer just about Charlie. It was about whether people could trust what they were told or whether the truth would always be buried beneath politics and fear. Through it all, Charlie's memory remained at the center. His speeches were replayed, his work remembered, and his words quoted in endless posts online. He had fought to make his voice heard, and now, even in death, his name carried weight. Whether or not Candace was right, one fact was clear. Charlie's story had changed forever, and the shadows cast over his death would never fully disappear. In the end, the truth remained elusive. No final answer was given to the public, leaving the story open and unresolved. Candace Owens' claim would be remembered as the spark that turned tragedy into controversy, and Charlie Kirk's wife would forever live under the cloud of suspicion, whether guilty or innocent. The world had lost a figure they admired, and the haunting mystery of his death would remain etched in memory, a reminder that sometimes the most painful questions are the ones that never find an answer.